April 15th, 2024, Reddit became the platform for exposing one of Instagram's most disturbing accounts. As the story unfolded on the subreddit r/Instagram through a user known as numeruscut792, I came across a reel randomly, and it led me down this weird rabbit hole of people using AI or dressing up pretending to go school. They all seem to have high heels check images in them. Is this age play thing or something more sinister? Literally anything helps as I keep trying to look for answers. Featuring screenshots of 3 bizarre Instagram profiles, each showcasing deeply disturbing visuals that linger in the mind. These images aren't just unsettling, they reveal something much darker beneath the surface. What makes this even more alarming is that these profiles appear to represent 3 different children, yet the content they post is far stranger than anyone initially expected. As the internet delved deeper, this post sparked a digital manhunt, pulling people further down one of Instagram's darkest rabbit holes. The discussion around this strange phenomenon exploded after a Reddit user, Maria, posted on the subreddit Our Internet Mysteries. In her post, she shared unsettling details about several creepy Instagram accounts, stirring a wave of intrigue and horror among Redditors. I came across a post on our Instagram where somebody mentioned these creepy Instagram accounts of people who are seemingly pretending to be kids. It reminds me of Pipergitten Way, and I feel like all of these pages are run by the same person because of the horrendous editing style that makes my eyes bleed. Many of the photos on this account are an edit of that goofy face on a real person's body. And a lot of the bodies are in suggestive poses, which makes me think this is a definite fetish account. Is this just a really weird hobby? It seems like the poster's first language is French, and many of the posts are just generally weird and hard to understand. I'm curious what you guys think about this. There are 3 accounts exhibiting similar behavior. Truth_sticks_11, Smartschoolboy9, and Stefaniestansfield. At first glance, it's easy to assume that these accounts are somehow connected. Each one features images of children that are heavily edited with highly saturated colors, exaggerated synthetic makeup, massive lips, and disproportionate heads. The visuals are jarringly overloaded with colorful text, describing their supposed interests and lifestyles, often alongside school logos and other unsettling details. It's also worth noting that many individuals online are attempting to create an ARG, hoping to gain traction and achieve viral fame. However, this particular instance is far too strange to overlook. The first image from the Instagram profile truthsticks_11 features a bio that reads, "Beautiful boy, an account looked after by me, a degree-educated mother, choosing to stay anonymous. Good, original, written work, advice, compassion." Truthsticks11, which was said to be operated by a 12-year-old boy and his mother. As we dive into this disturbing story, it's hard not to notice a strange and unsettling shift in the behavior of Truth_sticks. At first, they came across as a dedicated and concerned parent, passionately committed to protecting children from the very real threats posed by online predators. Their messages were filled with urgency, making it clear that they were on a mission to shine a light on these dangers and advocate for the safety of our most vulnerable. The mother behind the Truthsticks accounts initially used the page for its intended purpose to share photos of her son. At first, the images seemed quite normal, featuring the young boy studying at school, receiving awards from his principal, and participating in school presentations. The captions frequently boasted about how intelligent he was. However, as time went on, the photos began to take a strange turn. They started to look off, almost as if they were AI-generated, and increasingly appeared heavily edited. But then, starting in March 2022, things began to take a bewildering turn. Instead of continuing to champion the cause of child safety, Truth_sticks_11 started sharing images of their alleged son in compromising situations. This was a far cry from the protective persona they had initially projected. Alongside this, they began posting a series of deeply disturbing photo edits, raising eyebrows and prompting concern among their followers. What's even more alarming is that they began to follow several accounts that immediately set off major red flags. It's enough to make anyone wonder what on earth could have led to such a dramatic shift in behavior. This transformation not only raises questions about their true intentions, but also invites us to think about the complexities of their actions. This situation is incredibly unsettling. How much of it is real? What is going on here? It feels very strange, and the reasons behind it are unclear. Could it be an attempt to groom children or something equally disturbing? This has quickly become one of the most shocking discoveries ever uncovered on this subreddit. Naturally, the post went viral, with people pouring in from all sides, eager to figure out who was behind this and why. It didn't take long for Redditors to uncover other accounts with similar unsettling content. The visuals were alarming, and what made it even more concerning was that many of the images started resembling child exploitation, showcasing these fake AI-generated children in explicit situations. In some instances, their faces were even photoshopped onto scantily clad adult bodies. One thing is abundantly clear about the Truth Sticks account: the supposed child at its center isn't real. Given the disturbing and borderline illegal content featured on this page, it seems more than likely that the person behind it isn't an innocent mother concerned for the welfare of other children, but rather a predatory individual with far more sinister intentions. As we dive deeper into this rabbit hole, the mystery just keeps unraveling in unexpected ways. It's shocking to discover that there aren't just 3 bizarre accounts. There are a whole lot more. Accounts like Schoolgirl Teresa, New Girl 12, Stephanie Stansfield, and countless others are scattered across different social platforms. On the surface, with so many profiles in play, it almost feels like this has to be the work of a group. They interact with each other, liking and commenting on each other's posts. Profile Smartschoolboy9 is at the center of this whole story. It's the only account that posts original content and uploads videos as if it's a real person behind it. But the deeper you dive into his posts, the darker and more disturbing things get. The more you try to make sense of it, the creepier it all becomes. The account Smartschoolboy9 showcases some of the most bizarre and unsettling behavior imaginable. The person behind the account, who appears to be a grown man, tries to pass himself off as a schoolboy. Dressed in a school uniform with his face painted white and obsessively wearing mini boots. It's clear from the videos that he's putting an incredible amount of effort into this odd portrayal. We see him in multiple clips walking outside, supposedly getting ready for school. Yet, despite all his attempts to look like a child, he's nowhere near convincing as an actual school kid. The whole thing is just plain disturbing. The videos are incredibly bizarre, featuring him arriving home from school or claiming to be on a school bus heading to class. The most disturbing parts, however, are captured in other clips where he makes strange noises and repeatedly sticks his tongue out, seemingly part of a fetish, much like his other overly sexualized accounts. In these videos, he stars as himself, with his tongue out and speaking in a modulated voice, trying to project himself as a child. It's unsettling and gives off an undeniably creepy vibe. This guy seems clearly fixated on the idea of being a kid, and it's hard not to suspect that he's either creating fetish content or using the likeness of children for something darker. There's even the possibility that he's pretending to be a kid to exploit other children online. At this point, though, much of the Smartschoolboy9 case is still speculation, with a lot of mystery surrounding it. The deeper you go into this rabbit hole, the more disturbing it becomes. It turns out this isn't just about 3 accounts, there are over a dozen, and likely even more that haven't been uncovered yet. He's built his own twisted little community, a world where on each account he pretends to be a child. These profiles follow and interact with each other, making it seem as if these characters have real friends. It's a creepy, elaborate web, and the extent of it is still unknown. Arguably, the most controversial, bizarre, and earliest account created by this man dates back to 2019. The first and foremost persona he crafted among all the others is called Stephanie Stansfield. He didn't limit this account to just Instagram, he also created profiles on Twitter, Facebook, and several other platforms. In all of the Stefani accounts, he can be seen dressing like her, even going so far as to sexualize her outfits and trying hard to embody her. From Instagram post of stefaniestansfield, me and Morefoot, Milton Keynes, MK11, dressed for school. I really love it in year 7, and I love writing poetry. My Morefoot music heart. I race to complete my poems when I've got an early start. Heart racing, mixed race rhythms, maximizing miracles. Rice with rap, and on the map, my Kennington, London syllables. Dancing, though I know my underwear might show if I lean forward, good. In addition to the bizarre references to underwear in his poetry, the Stefani persona also frequently mentioned Milton Keynes, a region just north of London in the UK. This detail provides a clue to his location. He also posted random street photos from around London, further supporting the idea that he was operating from the area. As we dug deeper into this man's online trail, searching through the digital footprints of his Stefani Stansfield persona, we uncovered something interesting. We found comments linked to Stefani on Kennington Runoff, a local news website serving a neighborhood in South London. In one article about a youth club, Stefani even chimed in, leaving her mark there as well. Are there any unusual or rare pictures, including landing areas, lifts, etc., of Karen Point, the tower block that stood at Hotspur Street from 1969 to 2000? I learned what happened to Karen Point, but have yet to find any demolition pictures. Even on the 20th anniversary of its demolition, or pictures of the play space that temporarily replaced the building. Thank you for any research into Karen Point. At first glance, this comment might not seem connected to the larger rabbit hole, but one specific clue in the wording points us towards something significant. Play space. This detail gives us reason to believe there's more to it than meets the eye. Stefani Stansfield brought up a play area, a spot tied to kids. That's basically been erased from memory. Try searching for it online and you'll find nothing. It was around for such a short time that hardly anyone even remembers it existed. It's like a small, forgotten moment in history. But Stefani recalls it so vividly that they're out there looking for pictures of it. This really makes you wonder, was this person hanging around play areas as far back as the early 2000s, doing the same creepy stuff we're seeing now? Another intriguing find online leads us to a PDF file from a 2018 publication by a London charity known as the Streatham Society. On page 11, there's a segment titled Poetry Corner, and to our surprise, we spot a very familiar name. Hi to the Streatham Society. I'm Stefani Stansfield and Shy. I'm 12 years of age, year 7. I'm London-born and lived in Streatham for a while. I've written a poem. I asked my half-brother what he remembers about the area. Then I put my thoughts onto paper. I could have written much more, but I wanted to keep it short and yet still include a little tribute to June Whitfield. So it's as if I've traveled through time to include so much. I hope my poem is of some use. Yours sincerely, Stefani. After taking a look at her writing, it's clear that this poem wasn't penned by a typical 12-year-old. It includes details about buildings that were around in the 1990s and references to TV actors that would be far too advanced for a child to remember, making it seem nearly impossible. What's most interesting is that in the poem, Stefani mentions someone who supposedly shared stories about his life growing up in London decades earlier. Her half-brother, someone old enough to remember it all, named David. The hunt for the twisted mind behind this disturbing rabbit hole is about to take a chilling turn. The unsettling man lurking behind these bizarre personas is on the brink of being unmasked. It's only a matter of time before he's completely exposed for who he truly is, standing bare in front of everyone. The real question is, just how deep does this go, and what will we uncover next? The manhunt is in full swing on Twitter and Reddit, with a group of online investigators hot on the trail. The name David is spreading like wildfire through this twisted rabbit hole, and locals are now coming forward with eerie stories of their real-life encounters. They describe a man, dressed like a child, roaming the streets, his unsettling presence stretching from the south of London all the way up to Doncaster. The deeper we go, the more disturbing it gets. I'll be quite honest, I was really surprised when this guy popped up on my local city's subreddit. It's like one of them things that scared you as a child, then something reminds you of that as an adult, and it puts you back a bit. We're talking like 14-ish years back. I'm 28, almost 29 now. So, he lived on my street while I was in my last few years of secondary school and first few years of college, age 14 to 17. He was very well known by pretty much everyone who lived around that area. There was even a video of him at one point titled Donnie Legend. Me and my brother looked for this today, but couldn't find it. It must be at least 14 to 15 years old, though, so it may be deleted. He spent a lot of time wearing his school uniform, usually the skirt and boots look, but sometimes a suit. Basically, the exact same look from his recent pictures, just with a different school uniform. He carried around a little lunchbox with a mirror glued to one side of it. He used to stand behind trees and watch people in the reflection. He used to follow kids home from school, going tree to tree. There were a few times he was caught looking through people's living room windows that had confronted him in the past. My brothers and stepdad had a few altercations with him. My stepdad and mom especially didn't feel safe living on the same street as him and didn't like how close he lived to the local school 50-second walk. The police were called more times than I'd like to count. They were never ever concerned. He never committed a crime, according to them. They were very concerned for his safety in this. He was always seen as such a danger, but I honestly just assumed stupidly, as a naive teenager, that this guy didn't know how to use the internet, or at the very least was monitored. It's horrible he's turned up online, though I'm glad I can now be sure he's left the local city. My daughter starts secondary school next year, and I'm glad he won't be around to terrorize her. I just wish and hope that the authorities would protect the school kids where he is. This man is a known creep. I used to work at the court 20 years ago, and he was in court and the paper several times for approaching and writing to underage girls while wearing makeup and young girls' style clothing. He usually got away without conviction because the courts believed that he didn't intend to do any wrong. He was trying to speak to those girls because he wholeheartedly believed he was a girl of that age. When I lived in Doncaster, there was a man who used to walk around dresses as a 1960s schoolboy who looked like he'd walked out of a black and white photo. I'm pretty sure his skin was painted white. People said he was called David. With reports from locals frustrated by this man's disturbing behavior, the evidence paints a clear picture. David is much older than we ever imagined. It's no surprise now that Stephanie seems to know all about Karen Point. How else would a so-called 12-year-old recall TV actors and events she was never alive to witness? The truth is creeping closer, and now we know David is almost over 50 years old. For decades, this man has haunted neighborhoods across the UK, lurking around schools and approaching children, likely leaving them fearful. He's been posting pictures of kids who have no clue he exists, all while pretending he's one of them. His name even popped up in a local newspaper under an article titled, "School Uniforms Are a Path to Discipline." He knows exactly what he's doing. In the eerie shadows of the internet, David has become a master of manipulation, crafting a carefully curated online persona. With every filtered, AI-generated image he posts, particularly of children, he skirts the edge of legality. Like a wolf in sheep's clothing, he mimics the tone of concerned parents, yet behind the mask, something sinister lurks. His numerous accounts, each carefully built and projecting innocence, paint a false picture, fooling even legitimate publications. But the facade cracks when you notice the pattern: a man masquerading as a boy, all while posting warnings about predators. These accusations are nothing but projections of his own twisted desires. His web of deception is vast, following countless minors, some of whom have no idea their lives are being edited and displayed online. Another unsettling video shared by David reveals him stalking a child, his sinister laughter echoing like a predator on the hunt. The clip is cluttered with strange emojis and eerie edits, dominating the screen with an overwhelming sense of dread. This disturbing footage calls for a thorough investigation to address David's creepy behavior.